Hi, I'm Mike with the School of Self-Reliance, and today I want to talk to you about a piece of overlooked ancient gear that just doesn't get the credit that it deserves, okay? And it's a vital piece of winter gear, especially if you live in a super cold climate. Now, granted, you can get other things than the piece of gear that I'm about to mention, but I happen to think that for the dollar and for what it does for you, that it's one of the best pieces of gear out there for extreme winter cold weather. And without further ado, ta-da! The Mickey Mouse boot. And these old Mickeys are absolutely positively one of the best and most underrated piece of winter gear if you live in a super cold climate that your money can buy, bar none. These boots are good into the 50 degree below zero weather. They are good to just unbelievable temperatures. They will save your feet in any cold environment. Now, if you're in an urban environment, some people will say the Mickey Mouse boot would get punctured, because they're rubber boots, but they have air bladders in them. You see this? That's actually an air nozzle. But these boots have bladders in them. And they only come up to about right here. You blouse your pants over them. But what insulates you in the wintertime? The best insulator you have is dead air space. Well, that is what these provide. They have linings in them that's very thin, and they have dead air spaces. Layers of rubber that are rubber bladders. And they protect your feet in some of the harshest climates on Earth. They were designed by the military back in the 1950s. And the truth of the matter is, they are a wonderful piece of kit. I'm going to show some pictures of these after the video, so stay tuned for that. We'll show you what they look like. But these things will save your feet, people, if you live in a very cold climate. And a lot of old guys, older woodsmen, bought pairs of these religiously because they last, they're durable, and they work. And you can get them for under $100. If you're out at the gun show, a lot of times you get the black ones for maybe $60 to $80, sometimes $59 depending on your shoe size. And Sportsman's Guide will run specials on them where they're very affordable. But the white ones are more expensive, and I think that's because, well, they're actually camouflaged for the snow. But these things are great boots. They're long-lasting. I wouldn't wear them in an urban winter environment. But in a wilderness winter environment, yes, I happily wear these Mickeys in many places, and they have never done me wrong. So if you're looking for a great piece of winter gear that's largely forgotten, the not so elegant Mickey Mouse boot. But anyway, the other piece of gear that I was going to talk to you about, it isn't necessarily for wintertime, but it's a good piece of gear. Largely forgotten by time, and a lot of survivalists and preppers overlook these things. It's a military trench light with one exception. The angle head flashlight that this appears to be, this one is an LED. Has multiple LEDs in there. Its power consumption is nothing. It works in every environment. The 2 D-cell batteries that go in this may seem like a lot, but I have had these lights turned on all night long, okay, from the time it got dark until morning, and continued to use the flashlight because these LEDs, they're not super bright, but they're a lot brighter than an original trench light. And what they do is they save on battery life. So they are actually quite bright. And they are long lasting, they're very durable, but the biggest thing is the battery life, okay? battery life. You might have a set of batteries in this thing for a year or more and never have to change them, even though you go in the woods all the time. And as often as you use a flashlight, 6 months to a year, and I guarantee you'll just barely be ready for a new set of batteries. So that's a largely overlooked piece of gear, two pieces of gear that are largely overlooked. This one's good anytime, and I'd highly suggest putting one of them in your kit. And a third piece of totally overlooked gear that nobody ever thinks about anymore is a sled. I see guys walking around in the wintertime and they're slinging a backpack, they're slinging a big ruck, and the question I always have is why? Nature provided you with a whole lot easier way to carry all that gear through snow. The snow itself, because it's slippery, nature provided that part. All you need is a sled. The military in Arctic conditions have been using sleds for years. Mountain men and trappers used sleds for years. These sleds are spectacular, and you can carry all kinds of stuff. You can get a military version like this in OD green or white, and they're going to cost you a couple of $100. You can get a pretty close copy game sled like this at most of your local box stores, you know, for around $50. And Sportsman's Guide sells some too that are military type, that are really game sleds like this one, and they'll cost you $50. But for $50, you can load this up with all of your camp essentials, all of your stuff, and carry it around with you everywhere that you go. And you can do it for virtually no calories. You can do it for virtually no sweat, okay? And carry a lot of winter gear. And there's no reason in the wintertime not to carry extra gear. As a matter of fact, I carry lots of extra stuff in the wintertime. And the reason for that is because it's cold. You need that extra gear. Ground covers, pads. And I'm going to set this up and we'll drag it along and I'll show you kind of the benefit of the sled. Okay, now I've got my pack and I've got some extra gear in here. All total about 65 pounds with food and everything like that. I always wrap all of my gear on my sled. You want to go ahead and protect it, you may as well. Plus, it doesn't snag on anything if it's wrapped up, okay? And some of the stuff that you may be packing, it may just be, it'll be better to protect it in the long run. It'll keep it from snagging. And if you want to, most of these have these lips, and you can put a bungee cord around this to hold your stuff. But I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the advantages of a sled. And this is not hard at all. This is easy. That's the easiest way to carry 70 pounds of gear you've ever found in your life, especially in the winter and especially if you're in deep snow or if you're wearing snowshoes, because the snow is deep. All right, another piece of overlooked gear, especially for winter, you know, forgive the wild hair, is the ushanka or mad bomber hat. Folds up, buttons up top. And I have several of these. This is one, this is actually big toes. But it provides good warmth and comes down pretty easily. Will provide good warmth to your cheeks, your ears, the bottom of your neck, It'll meet up with your neck gaiter or your jacket when it's closed. And I gotta say, 140 million Russians are not wrong. It may look, you know, not the most stylish in the world. It might even look a little bit foolish. But in the woods, this will save your life. And I gotta tell you something else. The military, all the way up until Vietnam, had their own version of the ushanka, copied from the Russians because it was that effective. As a matter of fact, they still issue something very similar to Arctic units, and I can't give the ushanka enough praise for wintertime. Alright guys, well this is pretty much the end of my little day in the woods with forgotten or overlooked gear. So we're just going to pack everything up and head home. But I'd like to thank you for watching, and if you like what we do, like us on Facebook, like us on YouTube, watch our videos, share our videos, and help us out on Patreon. Thanks for watching.